Cricbuzz Chatter at the end of day 4 of this test match. Cricbuzz Chatter at the end of the test match. Dinesh Karthik is alongside me. Both of us are looking at each other and saying, what did we say at the end of day 1, day 2? I think we might have said it may not go beyond the 3rd day. We were 4 balls away from the game going into the 5th day. And the last 20 minutes were the most entertaining of all. There is no greater joy in the world than seeing 10 and 11 try and conjure up a win. But it was not to be, DK.
It wasn't to be.
Only the
richly deserved for England. Just the way they've gone about things for the first 2 days, things not completely happening for them. The way they've consistently and repeatedly have this innate belief that we can win from any situation, and they're literally doing that, and that's such a pleasure to watch. I was just thinking as I was sitting in the room today that this year seems to be the year for Test cricket in a way, because South Africa had 2 brilliant Test matches. We just saw what happened in Australia.
Yes.
And we're witnessing one of the best Test matches that's happened in India for some time now. No team has come and actually played, won a game from being that far behind. We've seen India do it. If you do remember the 2001 Australian series.
The only time India have lost from a position like this was that Chandimal once in a lifetime innings in Sri Lanka. Then Rangana Herath came and spun India out. But what was interesting was we got to a stage in the game. Ravichandran Ashwin has just got Ben Stokes with one of those specials that he bowls from time to time. -30 for 5. Partnership starts to develop. It becomes plus 10, plus 15, plus 20. I was watching the game down as you were, and I could not make out what the match position was. I just thought India just let it drift, maybe just a little lethargic. Did you get that impression?
I think a lot of India who watched this Test match got that impression that end of day 3 rather, they were tired, they lacked the body language. Somewhere they had been outplayed at different points of time, but India actually didn't have answers to a lot of the questions that England have asked. That's the truth of it. The intensity which is required sometimes to push on those tough days. Yesterday, because of what England came up with, I think India didn't have answers yesterday. And that the after effect of that is what we're seeing today. The belief seemed to have grown. Just observing how England went about their warm-ups, being in the ground, and just observing how the captain, coach, and a few players as I was watching, they kind of felt that they were ahead in the game. They believed that they could win, which is, from afar, when you see, you don't get to read too much other than their body language. And they actually felt it was their game to lose when they came in today.
This morning, I don't normally go out pitch side because I don't understand pitches, as is famously known. But I go there to get a feel. And there was Brendan McCullum chatting with a groundsman who he said is a friend of his. And I asked him about this absence of fear, because I have become a complete convert to this absence of fear syndrome. And even at my age, I wish I can now inculcate it. And I said, was it Phil Hughes? And he said, yes. He said, we were in that test match playing against Pakistan, and we were suddenly aware that there is so much beyond what we were just playing. So what are we afraid of? What are we doing? Play with freedom and unlock the inner you. And Ben Stokes said something very, very similar in the post-match presentation. He said, the sun will rise tomorrow. We're just playing a game. And can we get that out? But Ben Stokes did also say that in his era as captaincy, this was the best and the most important test match win that they've had, given how difficult it was.
This is going to be a landmark and a watershed moment in English Test history in a way, because coming to India, being so far back, with the kind of spinners that they had, and with the main bowler being hamstrung and can't bowl long spells, if you take everything into account, what they've achieved is nothing short of.
I mean, DK, you were talking about how they will struggle with the bowling they had at their command. Who took the wickets? Tom Hartley. 3 overs, none for 35. I asked Ben Stokes about whether he thought he'd take him off at 3 overs, none for 35 in the first innings. Nervous young man in his debut. He said, I knew come what may, I have to go back to him for 25 overs. So if I had taken him off at that point, I don't know when I would have brought him back for 25 overs. So I had to back him at that point. And I think his backing of Tom Hartley, to me, if I had to identify one leadership moment for me, it was Stokes backing Hartley. Did you say something else?
No, we were on air at that moment. Morgan also was there. So in many ways in life, as is always been the case, the difference between being foolish and being brave a lot of the time becomes the result.
I thought at the moment that moment he was being stubborn. In fact, I think people pulled out a tweet of mine as well where I said, I think he backed him too far and whether that would actually end up affecting Hartley. But, and here's something. Ben Stokes says, I watched the kind of fields Rohit Sharma was setting and I was learning. He said, contrary to my image, I watch a lot. And Hartley said, I watched what the Indian spinners did and I learned from it. And so, in a sense, England were getting better as they went along.
And it's also important to note for all the viewers that what Ben Stokes has done is observed what Rohit's done and kind of followed through a little bit with his fields. But
Yes.
what Hartley did was the opposite. When he was batting, he observed what Jadeja was doing and realized that that's not what he wants to do. It was probably easier to bat when people are bowling faster. So he slowed his pace
Yes.
down, is what he said in the interview,
Yes.
which is quite astounding. And I'll tell you another observant person who is one of the greatest leaders this game has produced, MS Dhoni. He doesn't speak much, but he observes the game from different points of view, and he's always observing the small things, body language, how people react to situation, what field is being said in that ground, what is about a lot of things. He speaks very less, but his observation skills is one of his strong points.
Now, you've been in the middle for many years. You observed. He watches the game very closely. You must watch DK in the commentary box. He's constantly badgering the producer. Can we see this backlift? Can we see that? Can we see that? He's a very keen student of the game. So tell me, where does Ollie Pope's innings rank in your book?
I'm not able to jog my memory far too back. Has to rate one of the greatest innings played by a visiting batsman in Indian shores.
Okay, let me jog your memory to two other innings.
Okay.
One was not as substantial, was Steve Smith's 100 in Pune on that minefield.
Correct.
And Kevin Peterson's innings in Mumbai in 2012. But we are talking of 2 over 11 years. And for this young man who was so nervous in the first innings, we said he's jabbing at things. And he also learned as he went along. He said, I got a little lucky at the start of my innings. I think just for the size of the innings, 196 in search of 200. He's got number 11. He tries to play a scoop and gets out. He's not worried about 200, man. What life. Don't worry about landmarks. Don't worry. Play what comes instinctively. What a great way to play.
Today for me was a very revealing day as to how cultures differ. You have to say, in many ways, as we were growing up, being Indians, somewhere the fear of failure is ingrained in us.
It is also put into us. If you don't get admission in junior KG in 5th standard, in a 5-year-old, the child has failed. So we learn to be afraid of failure very early in our life because of the competition.
Absolutely, Harsha. You hit the nail on the head. And I genuinely wish all the fans who follow and observe the sport understand why sometimes it can be hard for top order batters to be to be free in their minds to play shots that they want to play. They want to as well. But the fear of failure just pulls them back a little bit.
So does that explain Yashasvi's freedom in the first innings and holding back in the second? Shubman Gill just worried. Is reaching out to the ball, playing hard hands because he desperately needs that score. Sometimes we don't live in the present. We transfer ourselves into the future and worry about the outcome. Was it a slightly tense Indian batting lineup that was afraid of what if they don't get 230?
I think it's but normal to have those feelings.
Absolutely.
In India, you're playing a home series, you're chasing down a total. They've completely literally waken up from the dead, and they're now asking questions of you and tough questions. The pitches become tougher. So as a batter, it can be real hard work. As I said, a big example for me, the last 2 weeks I've been watching KS Bharat closely when he's been batting. He got a couple of brilliant knocks, 100, a 65. I know the way he starts and the way he plays. It's polarizingly different to what he's doing in Test cricket, the way he's starting. And I understand that. I've been through that. I empathize with that. But somewhere you have to get past that for you to achieve something special. I think a lot of the times the pressure of being a top order batsman, yes, the bowlers are bowling well, sometimes not knowing what shots to take on. I completely get that. But if Indian team wants to cross those big moments at different points of time, and that is where I thought the World Cup was special. Rohit led from the front with his shot making, and Shreyas Iyer followed through a lot of the times, and that eased the pressure of a lot of other batters around them. And that was what was missing, even from Shreyas Iyer's batting today. The courage to play the big shot. He is someone who can take on the off spinner, blindfolded and hit boundaries. But you can see this is what pressure and lack of runs and to an extent confidence and playing for your place in the side. All of this put together, I get what each Indian top order batsman is going through. It's hard work, but they have to cross that bridge.
Just a couple of points. Tough questions. India bowled spin this morning with the old ball and with the new ball. Not much seemed to happen.
Yeah.
Batsmen are playing all right. England come out. Vastly more inexperienced spinners. More seemed to happen. Did the spinners bowl better than the Indian spinners in your view? Or was the short selection of the Indian batters making them look better in that no one was disturbing their length with the sweep and the reverse sweep? To me, the reverse sweep has been the destroyer of length in this game. So, did India not bowl as well, or did India not bat as well?
Both. India definitely didn't bowl well. The one thing Rohit needs to do in the next test is not give complete, or rather, in many ways, not accept whatever the bowler is setting in terms of field. A lot of the times, I've seen bowlers sometimes try to be more defensive than what they need to be. He needs to push the bowlers to set slightly defensive fields, at least to the opponent bowlers and batsmen who just walk in. I can understand Ollie Pope, he was setting defensive fields, wanting to give the single, completely okay. But there were different points of time today when Tom Hartley was batting, when Rahan Ahmed was batting. They were giving away the single. There was no men closing in for the catches and putting pressure on them. That should not be tolerated by Rohit, or that's not something Rohit, or rather, let me put it this way: Rohit needs to understand that in Test cricket, just like his batting, he needs to attack and show intent with the ball as well. A number 10, number 9 batter can't come on a turning pitch and take singles easily. He shouldn't be allowing that. That is the time to buck up, and that's an area where they missed with the ball. With the bat in the second innings, there were plenty who were waiting for bad balls to happen, and that comes very rarely in international cricket. And more so, it becomes harder to put away the shorter bat balls in slower pitches like this because you don't get pace from the ball. So you're looking at something really bad for you to score boundaries from, and that can be few and far in between. So that would mean you have to show intent with the bat, because these are all players who played on turning pitches. They know what shots to play. So all they need is the courage in their mind to go out there and back themselves to play those shots. And in trying that, if they do get out, be at peace with themselves. So that is very, very important. And in a way, that's what England has done. I think coming from England, playing in that team, in that dressing room, and the culture around England cricket, I think they also had to break a mold there. But because they found success from here on in, this is what they're going to be doing. India hasn't found success by having that intent. They're still playing slightly, let's put normal Test cricket. I think England is an anomaly to the way they bat around the world. But India is batting normal Test cricket, but they're preparing pitches where batting can be hard. So, they need to find the balance.
Since you mentioned Rohit Sharma, and everybody knows your relationship with Rohit Sharma, I'm going to go straight into the hot spot. Was his captaincy too defensive? Did he let the game drift? Could he have been more proactive? Could he have done something different when the Folks and Pope partnership was on, or even when Pope was batting with Hartley and with Rehan?
Absolutely. I don't think there is any doubt that Rohit could have kept far more attacking fields. That is something he thrives on. As a batter, he's an attacking batter. He knows what it is.
Yeah.
Folks was playing for a place in the team. He had gotten out in the first innings. When he came in, within a matter of time, there was no silly point shot. I don't know whether those fields were set by the bowler or was set by Rohit Sharma. You need to have in-out fields, which he did very well, Rohit, but he didn't have catching a lot of the times for the new batter or for a bowler who had just walked into bat. That is something that he shouldn't be allowing, because you want to put pressure for the new batter by keeping those close-in catches so that they'll have the fear of getting out there and hence play a shot probably which is not there and make a mistake. If nobody is around here, the confidence to defend becomes a lot more, and in that you lose your wicket-taking opportunity. So yes, I think that is an area where they will be sitting down and realizing that no, probably went a touch too defensive. The good thing about Indian team, a lot of the series they start slowly. So this is not something that is not, they're not used to it, and they come back well as well. So it's going to be interesting how this next 4 tests pan out.
You know what? Just as well, we don't have those fast food 2-test series, because this test match had almost everything that you want to see as a great lover of test match cricket. And I cannot wait for the other 4 test matches, because it's like playing 5 sets, People come back from 1 down, people come back from 2 down. The opposition finds out your weaknesses and starts to play on them. You start to course correct and say, oh, that's what I did wrong this time. Can I do something better? And so it's a constant stage of evolution, and we are all sitting and watching it evolve. And that's why we've got such a great vantage point. I hope we're able to communicate some of that to you here on Cricbuzz Chatter. We will join you from Mana Visakhapatnam. I don't know what kind of track it's going to be. It's a good ground, But we'll wait and see when we go there. Cricbuzz Chatter will come back to you from Visakhapatnam.
Also on the same platform, just want to wish Rohan Bopanna. What he's done is phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
At 43
Unbelievable.
to win. Great. It's been a week where people from behind have come and done special things.
And Rohan Bopanna is much younger, but I looked at Rohan Bopanna and I said, he is beyond in his profession than I am in mine. And I actually sent him a message saying, you inspire me at this age. I'm inspired by Rohan Bopanna, because if he can keep it going at 43 in tennis, then we should all be still full of life and excitement and be happy. So well done, Rohan Bopanna. Well done, Ben Stokes. Well done, England. Look forward to India coming back strongly in Vizag.
Well done, Shamar Joseph. Well done, West Indies.